we've been here centuries.
You look at all these young people pulling the canoes. They're the ones that are teaching us how to come back to be the Suquamish that we are, to be the Songhees that we are, because indeed we're experiencing something today that is a miracle. We're living in a time of the fulfillment of the prophecies.
I can see in our community alone a number of families that have a generation of children that are going to grow up a lot different than we did. They're going to be proud of who they are.
You need to tell me there's not enough land in the rest of Canada for them to fight over, and they can't leave our little tiny piece of land left. It's ridiculous in my opinion. You know how much reserve land's left in Canada? 0.2% of all the land we've ever owned is now in a little tiny reserve. If you put all of our reserves together, it'd be smaller than Vancouver Island.
You know how it was back in the day, fun and games, running names. Now everything's serious, mine's delirious. Gang banging for us, natives got me furious. What happened to...
If you think about the $9 billion that's given to First Nations every year for programs and services, housing, water, infrastructure, almost half goes to Indian Affairs. They have almost 5,000 employees. Many make six-figure salaries. They get salary increases every year, paid vacations, trips overseas, you name it, language training, all the things that we don't get. Our funding that should be going to housing and water actually goes to pay for their really high-priced schooling for their children. One of the things in the media that upsets me the most, and it is designed to divide our communities from our community leaders, is to perpetuate this myth that First Nation leaders are all millionaires, they're all corrupt, they all mismanage money, and the reason for First Nation poverty lies on the shoulders of those corrupt chiefs, all 615. And that's exactly what this bill does. They don't tell anybody the facts. They don't say that of all the First Nations leaders in the country, what's the average salary? Does anyone know? It's $36,000 of a First Nation leader in this country. You know what the average salary for Canadians is? $46,000. We get paid less. There's 30 First Nations leaders in this country who get paid zero. How many mayors or premiers would work for their people for nothing? That's what commitment to community is. And there has never in the history of all chiefs in this country ever been a millionaire chief, ever. For evidence of corruption. Less than 3% of all of those audits ever found anything that could even be close to an individual purposely taking money for their own purposes and mismanaging it. That's a lower corruption rate than all of the municipalities, provinces in Canada put together. And you know, if that's the argument, if leaders aren't allowed to live high on the hog while their people suffer, why is it that Harper lives in a free mansion and homelessness is on the rise in Canada? It's not just First Nations who should be scared of Stephen Harper. Lots of little people are scared of Stephen Harper, and Canadians should be as well. Think about it. If they pass their legislation that takes federal jurisdiction and responsibility out of navigable waters, oceans, rivers, and lakes, and allow the provinces to strip mine this entire country, regardless of how it pollutes our waters, it's not just going to be First Nations suffering, it's going to be Canadians. And I think it's time we came up with a plan to let Canadians know that we are their only hope of saving the lands and waters and animals and plants in this country.